The fog shifted first, a slow peel across broken rooftops, drawn thin by the faint drizzle dropping through the gaps in the quarantine wall. Sid stepped into the open corridor between two ruined housings, visor wet, breath steady, boots brushing aside puddles filled with oily film. The start of Dive 63 felt a little colder than the others. The air had a bite to it, sharp enough to keep him alert. He was alone. He preferred it that way. No chatter, no confusion. Just the gray and the sound of rain spreading across dead metal. He checked his cracked wrist pad. The glow flickered. The map took a moment to load, then snapped into place. H-sector markers blinked in slow pulses. His primary objective waited inside a collapsed comms hub a few sectors east. The secondary objective sat in an upper robotics tower further east, a climb that would test his nerves later. Fog pushed through scattered debris in soft, shifting layers. His drift sense brushed the back of his mind, a tiny warning with no clear source. Scavvy vets said the instinct showed up after enough dives, but Sid's felt sharper than most. He trusted it more than he trusted people. It had saved him more than once. Sid froze. Rain trickled down his sleeve. He turned his head toward the long corridor of shattered glass and rusted load-bearing trusses. Nothing. Just fog. And water sliding across tilted walls.
Must be another scav launch.
He said it to calm himself, even though his gut told him otherwise. Gate C sometimes pushed out late scavvies, and one of the neighboring gates might have opened afterward. If someone came through after him, their outline could slip through the fog and vanish behind a wall before he ever heard them. Darkward entries get messy like that. There were also times when full scavvy teams launched, and a team could mean trouble fast if things turned hostile. Still, something about the movement felt wrong. A bend that did not match how a person shifted their weight. A flick of light that did not belong to a visor. Sid kept walking. The drizzle thickened for a few minutes, adding a thin curtain over everything. He wiped his visor. Vision cleared enough to keep him moving. He passed a toppled drone chassis, long, cold. He passed a spilled crate of old cable coils. He passed a wall covered in scorched patterns that looked like something had tried to escape a fire long ago. At the corner of a submerged parking structure, he found a body. Not fresh. A scavvy by the look of the cracked breather mask and mid-tier boots. The chest plate had been crushed inward from one brutal hit. No cuts, but dark blood streaked from the mouth and nose. Sid crouched.
Someone hit you with purpose, brother.
He checked the pockets. One battery, a loose data stick, both intact. He pocketed the battery pack, slipped the data stick into a tack belt slot, and straightened. The fog shifted again, as if something moved on the upper levels. His drift sense kicked in again. Just a message from instinct. Be careful. The scanner picked up a faint reading to his right. Movement. Just one blip, then nothing. Sid raised his PDW. Rain slid from the barrel. A shadow passed behind a busted vending alcove. Human shape. Human size. Or close enough.
Hey, if you're scav, I'm friendly. Anyone there?
No response. The shape turned. A faint red shimmer flickered on the wet wall behind it. Then the figure slipped behind a collapsed stairwell and vanished. Sid felt his drift sense ripple again. The shape is wrong. He lifted the scanner and tapped the housing twice.
Come on, work. Just once.
It stayed dark. Sid crossed a bridge made of fused metal plates. Rain ticked off the edges. Under his boots, puddles reflected neon fragments from a few surviving towers farther out in the city. Every few minutes, he thought he saw a limb slide through the fog. Sometimes an arm, sometimes a leg. Sometimes something poking from an angle a person could not hold. But when he checked again, nothing moved. The comm hub loomed ahead, a cracked dome, half-eaten by rust and collapse. Sid stepped inside. A collapsed console lay under a fallen beam. Broken AI housings littered the floor. A row of cracked screens flickered without signal, each glowing green for a second before shutting off again. The relay core sat under a hanging support girder, briefcase-sized, still humming, still warm. Sid lifted it. The weight was manageable. The sling held. Static crawled across the room. He blinked. The distant silhouette moved again. This time near the doorway he just entered. Something leaned forward. Something watched him. 2 points of light glowed blue, then flashed into yellow. Sid gripped his PDW.
Stay back.
The shape twitched. A single mechanical limb slid across the floor. Claws? Tools? Maybe both. Then the fog swallowed the shape again. With relay core secured, Sid took the east corridor. He moved fast. The rain outside softened, but the fog thickened again, pulled into strange patterns by pressure shifts in the dead air systems. His wrist pad blinked with a warning. The scan tower with the secondary objective sat 2 blocks ahead. Just a climb. Simple, in theory. The scanner chirped. The reading surged from 0 to full, then dropped to 0 again. Something large scraped against metal somewhere behind him. A single android arm hung from the wall, fused in place at the elbow. Metal sunk into concrete, like it had tried to pull free and failed. Clean metal, no rust. Too new for this place. Way too new. Sid stepped away slowly. He reached the base of the robotics tower, a massive structure leaning like a spine with one too many bends. Sid placed one boot on the first ladder rung and froze. The fog moved again. Something huge drifted through it. The shape moved with purpose. 4 limbs, maybe 5. A cluster of lights. A sound like servos caught between 2 frequencies. An unnatural voice that tried to form a phrase, but only spat a broken pattern.
Return. Stop. Stop. You. Oh. More.
Sid swallowed.
Yeah. Not good.
Sid grabbed the ladder and started climbing. Halfway up, the tower groaned. Rain blew across him. His boot slipped once, caught the rung. He looked down. The fog below moved like it had lungs. Something stepped out for a moment, Not fully visible, just a sliver of metal. A partial face. A set of fingers that looked welded from 3 different machines. Then the shape folded back into the gray. He kept climbing.